coming back to my senses. The first thing I did was lock the door. Alright, well... Uh, they knew what Oishi-san and I talked about. Why? How? No, that wasn't important. Thinking about it now, all of it could have been overheard from the beginning when Oishi-san met me. Well, excluding, well, there is the huge coincidence that maybe Mion was there at the food place. Maybe she was working for her uncle yet again, and she happened to be there and overheard the discussion. That would be the most obvious conclusion in my eyes. From the beginning, though, I mean, Keiichi met Oishi like in Hinamizawa, and then drove with the car all the way to the food place. Just as Mion said, I couldn't hide anything. And what were they trying to tell me? That part was obvious. They were warning me not to say anything unnecessary. What did they deem unnecessary? I only talked with Oishi-san about one thing, and they were warning me that that wasn't necessary. What was it that Oishi-san talked to me about? The incidents involving Oishiro-sama's curse that occurred every year weren't individual cases, but were connected as a whole, as well as the fact that there may be multiple perpetrators hidden within Hinamizawa. No, more precisely, that Mion, Rena, Satoko, and Rika-chan were all suspicious. Is that what they are warning me against? Well, not sure, but you know what? We truly hit the point of no return. And this is gonna be it. There is gonna be like even more fucked up stuff that is gonna happen. So you better prepare yourself, Keiichi. In fact, I'm gonna say this. I do not like the idea of putting you in danger in all this, Keiichi, but it is something that is more than likely gonna happen, since we're gonna be continuing the route. So, because of this, some spooky stuff is gonna happen, some horrific stuff is gonna happen. Rena, Mion, Rikai, and Satoko are gonna do their damnedest to scare you and, worst case scenario, even kill you because of this. Or a situation that I expect would be for the girls to do their thing and eventually Keiichi is gonna be demoned away. That he is gonna be sent straight to hell, which I am familiar with that kind of environment, to end up in hell and endlessly go through some torture to the point of eventually figuring out what is going on over here. So whatever this demoned away onikakushi thing entails, that is more than likely what I'm interested in, and that is, I get the feeling that that is gonna be what will happen. That Keiichi is gonna be demoned away somewhere, not sure where, but that'll be the start of the horrific events, and that we're gonna have to push ourselves through that endless hell that we're gonna go through, and that will be our battleground. That's for sure. We are gonna be entering hell, and we're gonna be trying our damnedest to escape it. Whether it will take months or years, that will be our battleground. That's the way I see it.
何バカなこと考えてんだよ、俺。
That or, well, there is this other option that that Keiichi is gonna get so scared to the point where he is gonna become, quote-unquote, one of them. And then nothing else will happen for like 1 more year. Like, whatever will happen to Keiichi, we won't know. But 1 year will pass and who knows, probably another victim will come to Hinamizawa, and then the story will continue. Except the group of people that is gonna spook the new victim is gonna be increased by 1, and that will be Keiichi. It's gonna be this endless hellish hellscape where each year the number of quote-unquote Onigafuchi guardians is gonna increase by 1. This year is gonna be Keiichi, next year is gonna be the next victim, and so on. In which case, that will be a case of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, where each part is gonna have its new protagonist, which I guess we shall see. For right now, I am preparing myself mentally. If only that would wake me from this nightmare. But for some reason, it felt like I was punching a blanket. It was almost laughably painless. Calm down, Keiichi Maibara. When did I become such a pessimist? Calm down. Calm down. Settle down and sort things out. The reason Mion knew I was eating lunch with Oishi-san was probably because somebody from Hinamizawa just happened to be there at the time. They must have told Mion that I was there. That made the most sense. Plus, come to think of it, she didn't ask me where I ate lunch, did she? She only asked, was it good? They were just curious since I was together with someone not from Hinamizawa. It's not as if they had any ulterior motives. And that's it. That has to be it. Thinking about that way, he was the same with Rena. And I was just being strangely ambiguous about when I met with Oishi-san, and Rena was just correcting me on that. And that's when I was bewildered by the change in character from the usual mild-mannered Rena. I was just startled by it. That's the most natural way of thinking about it. So you're saying that the intensity of those moments was all in your head, eh? Well, It felt like my mind was mixed up like a tangled mess of spaghetti. Deep red marinara sauce would have poured out of my nose and ears if you squeezed my head. In the form of ketchup. Oh, for the girls to eat their pasta with the marinara sauce. Like squishing your head. Thinking that, I suddenly felt like vomiting. Sorry. I guess I just have like a... I have like a huge tolerance to horror, because... As I said at the beginning of this adventure, I'm not that much into horror. I may get scared, I guess. Jump scares, oh yeah, for sure. When you have like loud noises / yells, the way Rena did at that point, of course I'm gonna get scared for a split second. Like all of a sudden. But it is definitely gonna take me a little bit for me to get spooked. Lately, I had no idea what anyone was saying. Spending time with them was fun. It didn't feel like there was any sort of hidden agenda. I really do think that they're a good bunch of people. When I just moved here and couldn't make heads or tails or anything, they were really kind to me. Rita was really kind and always looked after me. As long as that strange affliction didn't rear its ugly head, she was really pretty cute. Mion is also a really good person. She didn't care about anyone's age or gender, and was optimistic and outgoing. I was never bored when I was with her. And talking of not getting bored, Rambunctious Satoko was a good person for that too. She was pretty bratty. That was just the way she interacted with others. Rika-chan was the same way. She didn't speak often, but that didn't mean she was always silent. They are my friends. But after hearing of the better and told secrets of Hinamizawa from Oishi-san and Tomitake-san, when I was told about Oyashiro-sama's curse, things started going crazy. And then hearing from Oishi-san that Mion, Rena, Satoko, and Rika-chan were all suspicious. After that, everyone changed. That's right. It all started getting weird after Oishi-san told me all that strange stuff. At that time, I really should have just not listened to those weird stories. I shouldn't even have asked Tomitake-san about the past incidents on the night of the Watanagashi. That's right. So that's why they blank Tomitake-san. That impudent outsider speaking to the likes of me after everybody went out of their way to keep it a secret from me. They're probably blank Oishi-san as well. For trying to unearth what everybody was warning me was better left unburied. For trying to unearth what everybody was warning me was better left buried. Besides that, he was unforgivable for spewing words that made me doubt the others. Of course, a guy like that is going to be blanked. But Tomitake-san and Oishi-san were nothing but outsiders after all. They were entities who could not coexist with the people of Hinamizawa. So I should just fall to Oyashiro-sama's curse and just blank. It wasn't their fault. It was my fault for not being able to hold back my curiosity. It wasn't their fault. It wasn't their fault. Okay, come on. Now you're blaming yourself for Tomitake's death? It wasn't their fault. 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 Still on 2 days. It was a lethargic feeling like I had just gotten up. But the ominous chill that haunted me had subsided. I was fine now. I was no longer frightened. I had completely recovered. I'll go to school tomorrow. Right as rain. I'll greet everyone. I'll take part in club activities. It will definitely be fun. It had to be fun. I was one of them after all.
あ、そうだ。おはぎ食べないと。
Yeah, alright.
どれがレナの手作りか当てないといけないんだよな。
Well, might as well. I remembered the homework the two brought with them when they visited me. But wow, our club did delivery. And that was something else. I picked up the package I dropped on the floor and I headed into the living room. Alright, well, might as well. Let's just enjoy our mochi over here and just not think about it for the rest of the night. It would be nice, I guess, to have some tea with it. To fill my mouth with mochi while drinking tea. Oh. This was quite a delectable situation I was in. Opening up the newspaper wrapping, there were 5 plump red bean paste mochi fit snugly inside. Nice. There were letters written from left to right on the newspapers. A, B, C, D, and E. Now then, the Serena made one of these. I wonder which one. There wasn't much difference in how they looked. And they smelled and appeared about the same. This was a pretty difficult problem. Like any of Rena's scent a little bit over here? Would Rena do anything specific to the mochi to make it recognizable? The biggest difference was probably their shape. They just made it in form of a dango. I wasn't sure what kind of person Mio's grandma was, but Rena's had to be different from hers. Looking carefully, I could see one mochi that was made very neatly. So well that, just by staring at it, one could tell it stood out.
この一個がレナのか否かが勝負の分かれ目みたいだな。
Calm down and think even harder. spin the chessboard a little bit over here. Mion had said her grandma made a ton of them and was told to give some out, if I remembered correctly. So that meant 4 of these were from that large batch. Then what about Rena? She probably only made 1. So she probably spent quite a bit of time on it. Meaning, the one Rena had made was this one. E! For a moment, I thought it may have been a trap Mion laid, as she knew I'd pick up on it. But that probably wasn't the case. Yeah, I don't know. Like reverse psychology? I wouldn't be so sure if I knew Mion had made it. But since she said Rena made it, it probably wasn't a trap.
よし、お茶も準備 OK。まずは
Alright.
ディフェンディングチャンピオンのミオンのばあちゃんからだ。どれ？
No. Not bad. The smooth bean paste and soft, chewy texture left little to be desired. I swear to God, if Satoko added something suspicious in one of the mochis, I'm gonna be mad. The tea I drank afterwards also accentuated the experience. This was an exquisite piece of work. Now, how about Rena's? The creation was so delicate. I don't think it was high-class Japanese dessert. Since I normally had quite the appetite, I was slightly worried about the size of the portion. But, well. First, a bite. This was quite a difficult one to judge, actually. The ingredients were exactly the same, so there was little difference in flavor. What was different was how it was shaped at the end. So it was to be expected. So the deciding factors would be presentation and volume. The well-formed and well-sized champion versus Rena the challenger, with a size you just couldn't get enough of. I only had 1 bite of Rena's. I would probably have to wait until after I was done eating to make my decision. Maybe there was something hidden inside that could cause an upset. Since my prediction was right, my tongue touched something. It didn't feel like something edible, so I reached in with my fingers and grabbed it. Hopefully it's not hair. What was this? Before I could fully comprehend what it was, I threw away the rest of the mochi I was eating as fast as I could. God damn it. Twist the knife inside the heart, why won't you? Okay, well, what is it? Slammed against the wall, causing the beam jam to splatter. Then, after sticking for a moment, it slid down to the floor. I was dumbstruck by my own actions. What was I doing? When I had gone out of her way to make it for me, how could I? Dumbstruck, I looked down at the hand that performed such a vile act. Then I remembered what I had taken out of my mouth. But at first I thought it was a hair. Even though it was shorter than Mion's, Rena's hair was still quite long. Alright, well, let me just take some bits right over here. Were we eating part of a heart here? And it wasn't this short. It was also a bit too hard to be fair. It was thick enough to roll around on my tongue. There was a bit of metallic sheen on one end of it. Yes. Yeah, there was a hole for where a thread goes through. Like it was a sewing needle. Oh. You're telling me that it's... Looked very much like a sewing needle. Exactly like one. The end was pointed as well, quite sharply. It really did look just like a sewing needle. Huh? What did I mean by looked very much like a sewing needle just a bit ago? I Couldn't answer, but the voice inside me already knew, and let me know by chattering my molars together. I couldn't stave off the terror welling up inside me. Suddenly, I tasted something metallic and felt a prickling pain at the back of my throat. Oh no. Are you actually choking on it? Are you okay, Keiichi? Stuck my finger in the back of my mouth and felt around to see if I was bleeding. Suddenly, I felt the urge to vomit. The sharp taste of bile irritated the back of my throat. I clasped both hands over my mouth, and after writhing in agony, I was somehow able to hold back the nausea. I was finally able to breathe normally again. But this time, my heart was throbbing intensely. Then, it finally registered. Exactly what was mixed in with the mochi. Before I could think of the correct word, my hands were already on the move. Splat, splop, splort. I tossed the rest of the mochi against the wall. The geometrical patterns of the scattered beam jam on the wall suddenly involved a terrible omen in my mind. After looking away, I dashed out of the hallway and flew upstairs to my room, where I stayed under my covers until morning. I clutched my own shoulders, howling madly in a mix of fear, anger, sadness, and frustration. Ah, you poor thing. There. This wasn't a threat or warning or reminder. Nothing as simple as that. What had happened in Hinamizawa? What is happening in Hinamizawa? What would happen? I didn't know the answer to any of those questions. Why did I break a taboo? Regardless, now Rena and Mion and the others, they consider me an enemy. And they thought I should just die. I won't let you kill me. Not for such a pointless reason. I fell into a restless sleep as I was crushed by my negative emotions. It was as if I was being drawn into a billowing bottomless swamp. Taking a deep dive into hell. Hard to swallow. Alrighty then. Well, let's see. What would be a drug that makes you commit suicide? Alright, well, let's talk about the possibility of a drug.
単刀直入に自殺させる薬ってないんですか？
直接的にはない。
遠回しですね。では間接的にはあるってことですか？
自殺したくなる精神状態を誘発することはできる。ちゅうことだ。
I mean, there could exist like a poison that if you were to smell it even, that would actually kill you. But again, I would assume that you found that inside the body.
難しい言い方になりましたね。何ですかその自殺したくなる精神状態ってのは。
例えば一般的な心理学見地から言えばじゃが、心理面が内向状態から外向状態に転じるときに最も自殺が多いと言われちょる。
Clinical depression and bipolar disorder are different. Clinical depression indicates a prolonged state of depression, whereas bipolar disorder is characterized by a passive depressed state accompanied by a very active manic state.
内向状態の時は自信を喪失し非常に悲観的だ。だが自殺もせん。自殺をする気力すらないからだ。逆の状態もまた自殺をせん。今度は逆に非常に自信過剰で行動的なので 自らを順風満帆と思う。だから自殺などせんのだ。
なるほどね。どっちの状態でも自殺をしないのに、状態が入れ替わるときに自殺するんですか？
When it changes.
内向状態には自殺願望はあるが、自殺という大仕事を遂げる気力すらもない。だが外向状態が始まると徐々に気力が充実し、体の自由が利くようになってくる。
So you're saying that they gain the willpower of that mania to commit the desires when you're in depression? So it's a mix of those two.
なるほど。つまり自殺する気力が回復するわけですね。
そういうことじゃのう。だからこの時期に変な気を起こさんように処方箋を施すわけじゃな。
では、富武氏はこの心理状態だったんですかね。
一般的に自殺はちゃんとした文化的な手法で行われる。道具を使用してな。自虐行動とは全く違うぞい。
富武氏の自殺は文化的じゃないですよね。ではやっぱり何かの中毒と考えるのが自然ですか。最初に言った自殺したくなる精神状態を起こす薬ってのを教えてください。
鎮痛薬の一部には心理を内向から外向に過剰転換させる効果があると報告されとる。それから催眠作用を持つ薬を異常摂取した場合にも異常行動が報告されとるが、あまり一般的ではないのう。
その2つは検視の報告だと違うみたいですね。他の可能性は？
Yeah, so you're saying none of that was found. Anything else?
あとは病気しか考えられん。甲状腺異常を引き起こす病気にしばしばそれに似た症状が報告されとる。だがそれらは概して特徴的な症状が多い。仏は違うのう。
もっと突発的に発生するものはありませんかね。今回のケースと合うような突発性で自殺したくなるようなやつです。
他には、そうじゃな。脳障害によって精神に異常を発生する状態じゃな。
Due to some physical injury or illness. Like in the situation where, I don't know, for example, somebody is hit in the head and that affects the brain in a way that it will make you commit suicide. But the thing is, he wasn't hit in the head or anything like that, at least from what guys have said.
これは薬物中毒でも起こるが、脳の外傷や一部の病気なんかでも起こる。
つまり薬によらなくても異常な精神状態に陥る可能性があると。
仏は犯人に囲まれて命に危険が迫っとったんじゃろ。極度の緊張が続いて、それに分泌異常が重なって、さらに打ちどころが悪くて脳に障害が起こり自虐行動に走った可能性もあるかもしれんの。
もうちょっと省略して言ってくれませんかね。
つまり乱闘中に豆腐の角に頭ぶつけて、それで異常が発生したと言っとるんだ。
It is a possibility, but...
じゃあ星には殺意はなかったってことですかね。ちょいと小銭を巻き上げようと思ったらたまたま殴りどころが悪かったと。
The two plump men laughed hoarsely.
なんてわけはありませんね。
いかにも薬物の常用にせよ精神的なものにせよ、仏の身元が鍵を握っとるぞい。そっちはどうなっとるんじゃ。
あら、こんな時間、そろそろ戻らないとクマちゃん怒っちゃいますね。
クマちゃん。
おお、頑張れよ。いいお年をの。
いいお年を。
Yeah, I cannot say that any of that stuff, like, really convinces me. Maybe the latter option where he hit his head, maybe, but Oishi or the search notices and such, they didn't mention like any head injuries. Alrighty then. Fred.
おや今の皆さんは確か
議員バッジが2人いたっすね。
National Diet.
じゃあ県議と市議の園崎だ。
面白いっすね。親戚同士で県議と市議やってんすか。
これがずるいんですよ。お互いの名前で慈善運動バンバン。片方の選挙中にはもう片方が別に講演会を開いて二重に選挙運動やってんですよ。堂々と。
よくわかんないんすけど、それって公選法違反じゃないんすか。
慈善運動にならない限り政治活動は無制限ですからね。クマちゃん、そんなんじゃ選対本部好きになった時大変ですよ。公選法くらいは勉強してください。
俺、知能犯化は無理っす。バカですから。
There was a prefectural assembly member Sonozaki and city councilor Sonozaki. Also, the mayor Hinamizawa. So they're all influenced by the Sonozaki family. Ah, what crap.
お見送りしてんのは副所長とうちの課長っすね。
Huh. That night, when the department chief invited me along to get some Auden, I thought that was it. Oh? What is this?
大石さんは友達多いから聞いてるかもしれないけど、聞いてるかな。
いえ、何も。
お母さん、ガモにはんぺん頼みます。所長んとこに議員の怒鳴り込みがあったんだよ。
あれま、そうなんですか。あ、お母さん、私にもう一杯ください。
Prefectural Assembly member Sonozaki and City Councilor Sonozaki were both intimidating. Our snot-nosed career police chief couldn't handle being yelled at by them. They're like a yakuza.
Hinamizawa事件の捜査の仕方で君を指名して陳情してきたよ。
ありゃ、私はてはて。
とぼけるなよ。例のHinamizawaの過去の事件。蒸し返してるだろ。
私、富武殺しで手一杯でそんな余裕ないですよ。ね。
本当に？本当にそうならいいんだけどさ。
There was a period of silence. While we were silent, we made headway on our food and drink.
いやー、ごちそうになっちゃいました。今月は負けっぱなしだったんで財布つらかったんですよ。助かりました。
いや、いいよ。また馬教えてよ。大井さんと同じ馬を買うから。
最近はダメです。馬の声がさっぱりですから。タクシー
I'm going by train. The department chief is taking a taxi. I have my own car, but it'll be rash to drive it home. Can't blow it right before retirement with a DUI. Even though he could still rattle off, it looked like his eggs were already jelly. Pushing him into the cab, I gave the driver the department chief's address.
ではではまた明日。良いお年を。
大井さん。
はいはい。
過去の事件は全部個別に終わってる。縦に並べるのはやめるんだよ。村の連中は半ば本気でタタリを信じてるんだから。
私だってタタリなんか信じちゃいませんよ。
大石さんは来年で退職じゃないですか。退職金でローン返してお母さんと北海道に引っ越すんじゃなかったっけ。
ばあ様がどうしても生まれの北海道に帰りたいって泣くんですよ。最後のご奉公なんです。退職金はまあ歓楽街で楽しむことにします。 な。
所長は退職時特別昇給を見直すかもってさ。
A public servant's severance payment is calculated based on their monthly salary when they retire. So, a special promotion of 2 pay grades is given before retirement. This tops up the employee's severance payment. That tends to be how it's done around here. Of course, it's not exactly a commendable custom. Incidentally, the difference that 2 pay grades makes to the payout is quite significant.
さすがインテリの若所長は言い出すことが模範的です。でもまあ、私たちの給料が血税で支払われてることを思えば、まあ、時代の流れですかね。
It certainly wasn't a laughing matter, but I'll laugh through it anyway.
僕も模範的なこととは思わないよ。でもまあ、大石さんはそれだけの退職金をもらってもおかしくない活躍をしてきたからさ。僕としてはぜひもらってほしいんだよ。
もらえるもんならそりゃ欲しいですけどね。
もらえるよ。大石さんが大人なら。
運転手さん、引き止めてすみませんね。お願いします。
I closed the door roughly, interrupting the department chief's conversation a bit rudely. It looked like he still had something to say, but he just smiled wryly and waved. I waved in return. The cab sped up gradually, and soon disappeared among the sea of lights.
参ったな。ローン返済できるかな。
I wonder that too. Tap, tap, tap. The sound of muffled footsteps stopped in front of the door to my room. Alright, who is it? Is that you, Rena, again? A moment of silence, as if whoever they belonged to was ascertaining if I was inside. Of all the things I should have been doing, I continued on with my restless slumber. I was very much conscious, but my body hadn't caught up yet. Even with danger bearing down on me from just beyond the door, it was as if I was completely paralyzed, unable to move. Without a doubt, this was sheer terror. Alright, well, I can actually relate to this. There were times in the past where I would be in my bed and I would hear some strange sounds as if somebody was inside the house. That is a fear indeed. Please, just leave. Hey, why isn't my body awake yet? If they came into my room right now, then... Yeah! I sprung to my feet and threw my covers at my mom, who was opening the door.
何ケイチ、どうしたの？
ごめん、寝ぼけてた。
I thought it was still 1 or 2 a.m. But the morning sun was already streaming through the gap between the curtains. It felt nothing like morning. Yesterday, I must have fallen asleep right after that. And I should have gotten a full 10 hours of rest. But it didn't feel like that at all. My internal clock was completely screwed up and my sense of balance felt off. I felt feverish enough that it was clear to me that I was still not well.
どうケイチ、体の調子はどう？学校行けそう？
I felt far from well enough. No, I wasn't mentally fit to go. I was still plagued with terror from yesterday. If I had swallowed that needle, what would have happened? Or what if it had pierced my tongue? It was undoubtedly a murderous intent. But I don't think that's all it was. they really wanted to kill me, then there were other, more certain ways to do it. They wouldn't resort to such a dubious method as having me swallow a needle. Meaning, I didn't want to believe it, but going that far was just a threat from Rena and Mion. Aren't you glad you didn't die? But next time we'll use a more assured method. Like that. Something like sending a letter with a razor inside would have been a joke compared to this.
ちゃんと病院は行った？お薬は飲んだの？
うん。まあ一応。
Something about my mom's dubious case bothered me. She seemed more concerned about her son missing 2 days of school rather than him being sick. It was definitely mental fatigue. I wasn't really physically ill.
一度生活のリズムを崩すとなかなか戻らないんだから。さあ、起きて起きて。病は気からって言うのよ。
I heard that line many times before. I was given an award in elementary school for having a perfect attendance. But it wasn't like I was healthier than everyone.
さあさあ、顔洗ってらっしゃい。
Alright, Mom.
ご飯はもうできてるわよ。もうレナちゃんが来るまであんまり時間がないわよ。
Mom's tone meant I could not give up it. So I had to give up on skipping a second day.
そうそう。今の壁にぼたもちを投げつけたのはケイチ？ダメよ、あんなことしちゃ。お父さん、怒ってたわよ。
Sorry, Mom. I feel particularly guilty for doing it, so I didn't have much of a reaction. Also, Mom didn't question me any further about it. She headed back downstairs after she was certain I was getting up. What Mion said as she left yesterday, "I'd hate if you missed school tomorrow," came back and dwelled in the back of my head. What did she mean by that? I didn't even have to really think about it. She was saying, "Don't be absent." Taking that a bit further, it was the same as her saying I should just go about living my life as if nothing happened. If I showed any signs of acting unusual, it will probably result in them making their move. If I acted differently, someone like Oichi-san, for example, might end up noticing that something is up. Meaning, if I didn't watch my mouth or did anything differently from the norm, in effect, they would end up communicating something to those who were undesirable. And it seems that was something that girls didn't intend to forgive. So, if I just went along as normal, no harm would come to me. Is that how it was going to be? All that misery I experienced up until yesterday would, almost creepily, just fade away. It was an enticing deal. Just by forgetting anything I'd seen or heard these last few days, I'd be able to keep living on like normal.
そんな虫のいい話あるわけ？
I swallowed hard, and once again deliberated on the idea that I had just rejected. Mion was probably a good person who had her friends at heart. She was giving me, who had mistakenly broken some rule of theirs, a chance. Yeah. But the thing is, if we are to go that kind of route, what? Are we now gonna live the rest of our lives with our friends who we may not truly know like 100% because they are not being honest with us about what is going on? It's like that one episode of Seinfeld. Well, what kind of friend of you... Well, what kind of friend would just go out there killing people? When Kramer was asked, "Hey, if I were to kill somebody, you wouldn't write me down, would you?" And Kramer would say, "Of course." Well, what kind of friend would do such a thing? Well, okay. Like, I thought I knew you, but apparently I do not. Was what I did raise something unforgivable? But Mio had given me another chance. She was saying if I just forgot everything and kept living on like I had been, I'd be forgiven.
ケイチ、ご飯冷めちゃうわよ。急いで降りてらっしゃい。早くしないとレナちゃんが来ちゃうわよ。
あ、今行くよ。
I crammed my textbooks into my bag and hastily made my way downstairs. Alright. I picked at my somewhat blank breakfast. It seemed that I didn't have much time. It was already past when I usually met up with Rena. Given yesterday's events, she'd probably be here in the next 5 minutes. I needed to be ready to head to school by then. I had to forget everything that happened in the past 2 days. Forget it all and return to my normal life. For this to be normal, I have to be where I normally meet up with Rena. Today of all days, the rice was dry and hard to get down. Ding dong. I jumped at the sound and dropped my chopsticks. And that chime signaled that Rena had arrived. Mom hurried me along.
ほら、レナちゃん来ちゃったわよ。急いで急いで。
Alright, Mom. My mother's merry smile and my gloomy face were polar opposites. Honestly, I was reluctant to see Rena, who was waiting there on the other side of the door. The Rena on the other side was the Rena I knew. I couldn't keep her waiting. I needed to do things as usual. An invigorating greeting filtered in from across the doorway.
ケイチ君、遅かったから来てみたけど、今日はどうかな？
The manner in which Rena was concerned was, without a doubt, the Rena I knew. And that was probably only if I reciprocated. Forget everything from yesterday. Pretend as though nothing had happened. Forget about the gruesome dismemberment. Forget about the mysterious deaths that happened the following years. Forget about the people falling to their death. And the terminal illness and suicide. The fatal beatings and the disappearances. Forget it. Forget all of it. Forget that Rena and Mion were scary. Of course. Forget it all. Forget about all of it. Forget about the mochi too. Forget. Rena once again asked to make sure.
学校行けそう？